This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, welcome everyone. We continue in Parak Zayin of Sefer Devorah, and the Devorah is discussing the midah of Tiferes and how a person accustoms himself with the midah of Tiferes. The Devorah says the midah of Tiferes is associated with learning Torah. Tiferes is Torah, as the Gemara tells us. V'hat Tiferes zu matan Torah. However, the danger when it comes to matan Torah, to learning Torah, is that a person should not be arrogant, because the Devorah says if a person allows arrogance to get mixed into limud Torah, they are causing Tiferes, which is Torah, to be elevated and be removed from this world. But instead you need to lower yourself, that Tiferes should be mashpia on Malchus. Now, we learned earlier in the parak of Chesed, so we had parak Beis was Keser, parak Gimel was Chachma, parak Daled was Bina, parak Hey was Chesed, and parak Vav was Gevura, and now parak Zayin is Tiferes. So we had the first parak again was the Yud Gimel Midos, Beis was Keser, Gimel was Chachma, Daled was Bina, Hey was Chesed, Vav was Gevura, and Zayin is Tiferes. Tiferes has to be mashpia to Malchus. Now we're going to see Malchus is called the poor woman, and actually we had this concept before when we spoke about tzedakah. The Devorah in Parakeh Ois Daled referred to tzedakah. There are two aniyim. There's Malchus and there's Yesoid. Yesoid is the ani, and Malchus is the aniyah. You hear this? Yesoid is the poor man, and Malchus is the poor woman. But basically, Tiferes got to give to both of them. And if Tiferes is going to be arrogant, it's going to be raised above. It will not be able to be mashpia, not to the ani, which is Yesoid, and not to the aniyah, which is Malchus. So the first thing a person has to be careful about is not to be mizgaya over their talmidim, and the talmidim of Tiferes is netzach and hoid. So if somebody is arrogant over his talmidim, he will cause Tiferes not to be mashpia on netzach and hoid. But today we come to the second facet of Tiferes, shenis hamizgaya b'toirasai al ha'ani. One who is arrogant with his Torah over a poor man, umevaze oisa, and he disgraces him. One may feel that they're so knowledgeable and they have so much Torah that they're well above the poor man, and in that case, one may feel sort of a sense of entitlement or elevation over the poor man. And now the Devorah cites the Gemara in Tainus. Kahu oivada de Eliyahu, like the story of Eliyahu, shednidmel Reb Shimon ben Elazar, who appeared to Reb Shimon ben Elazar ka'ani mechayar, like a disgusting poor man, nivzeh, disparaged, v'nimas, and despicable, lahachshiloi, to cause him to stumble, shezacha daitoi olav, because his mind was arrogant, v'gina es ha'ani, and he put down the poor man, v'loichiach al panav mumai, and he disgraced to him his physical deficiencies. Now, what's the story? Do you remember the story? Reb Elazar Reb Shimon, or the Devorah says that Reb Shimon Elazar was traveling from Migdal Gadar from the house of his Rebbe, and he was riding on a donkey, and he was riding on the riverbank, and he was very happy because he had just learned a lot of Torah, and he was feeling a little bit arrogant. And a person appeared to him who was extremely unsightly. He looked really disgusting. He said, and he greeted Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Reb Elazar Reb Shimon. Or according to the Devorah, Reb Shimon ben Elazar, he greeted him. Now, the Mefarshim learned that it was not considered proper for an unsightly person or a gruff hooligan to greet an important person. And he looked very unsightly. He looked like he didn't take care of himself. And Reb Shimon ben Elazar said to him, "You empty person, you're so disgusting. Is everyone in your city as disgusting as you?" He said, "I don't know, but why don't you tell the craftsman that made me how disgusting his kli is?" And Reb Shimon ben Elazar realized that he insulted him, and he asked him for mechila. And he said he didn't want to be meichel him until it was discovered that, in fact, Reb Shimon ben Elazar was a big chacham, and the people in the city told the poor man to be meichel him, and he said, okay, as long as he doesn't do it again. Now, Rav Goldberg points out, nowhere in the story does it say the man was a poor man, but presumably he was poor. Now, the Mefarshim on that Gemara explain, why would Reb Shimon ben Elazar insult him? And they basically say, well, his appearance was so unkempt. Aside from his objective ugliness, he clearly did not take care of himself, and therefore Reb Shimon ben Elazar was rebuking him for his behavior. And he didn't realize that this ani would take it not as a rebuke on his behavior, but as a criticism of his looks. And when Shimon ben Elazar realized that, he retracted. But the bottom line is, a person has to be careful not to feel entitled or arrogant or better than vis-a-vis an ani. Because if you do, what do you cause? Goyreim shahat Tiferes yizgoa ala yisoid. You're causing, in the earlier chapter he said Tiferes will be elevated over Malchus, which was the Aniyah. Here he's saying Tiferes will be elevated over the Yisoid. V'lo yashpia boy, and he will not be influenced by it. V'imtia daitoi shalchacha miyusheves alav im ha'ani. If the mindset of the wise man will be settled vis-a-vis the ani, az ha-tiferes yashpia by Yisoid, then Tiferes can influence Yisoid and the Shamayim, meaning basically all the systems, all the spheroids are operating smoothly, and Tiferes could be mashpia on Yisoid. So last night I was working on, I'm finishing up the art scroll book on Chanukah and Tu B'Shvat. So I'm writing the intro to Chanukah, and I'm writing in English about the sphera called Hoid. And what Hoid is the 8th sphera, and we're connecting it to Chanukah, which is 8 days, and that's one of the reasons why Chanukah is 8 days. So I wrote over there that the Chidah says that Hoid was Niskan, was fixed on Chanukah, and therefore Chanukah is 8 days. So the editor wrote back to me, why does a sphera need to be fixed? So the real answer is, I don't know. I have no idea why it needs to be fixed, but I can't write that because then they're going to tell me to take it out. So I had to come up with an answer. So the answer, and I think it's the right answer, is in order for the spheroids to work properly, that one should be mashpia to the next, they got to be operating on all cylinders. So somehow on Chanukah, Hoid was fixed. In other words, what does it mean Hoid is fixed? That it's able to receive sustenance from the upper spheres and deliver it to the lower spheres. So again, not that we understand what these concepts mean, but at least we say the words, and the words are, we want Tiferes to be mashpia on Yisoid. Therefore, when a wise person, such as you, encounters an ani, you should value the ani very much. And you should bring him close, because when you do that, you're really causing Hashem to enable the Ribono Shel Olam to be mashpia toiva on the whole world, because this way Tiferes will be mashpia on Yisoid. So the next time an ani knocks on your door, you should be very happy, and you should think this poor man is doing you a favor, because not only will your family have more shefa because of him, but the whole world will have more shefa than him. Because when you not only give money to the ani, we're talking about making the ani feel valued and important. When you do that, you're elevating, you're connecting Tiferes to Yisoid, and you're allowing, the Shamayim to operate on all cylinders. Make the ani very valuable and bring him close. And by doing so, you will be making close Yisoid to Tiferes, and it will then attach itself to it. So, just to share with you a few things. In Parak Hey, regarding tzedakah, the Talmud Devorah said Yisoid is called the Ani and Malchus is called the Aniyah. And if a person is misgaya on the Ani, he's causing in the Elyonim that Tiferes will be raised above the Yisoid. Now, in the conclusion of that Gemara, after the Ani was Meichel, Reb Shimon Elazar, the Gemara says Reb Shimon Elazar went out to be darshan la'olam yehei adam rach kekanev la'kasha ke'erez. A person should always be soft like a reed and not harsh like cedar. That the way to be mashpia Torah is to lower oneself to one's talmidim. Okay, Rabbi Sai, thank you very much for listening. And Be'ezras Hashem, we hope to continue tomorrow at 5 p.m., but the background might be a little different. Stay tuned. Okay, Rabbi Sai?
Rabbi,
sure.
You know that in the shtibel where I daven during the week?
Yeah.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.